We're here with Martin Lindstrom. He is a marketing expert who has written Buy-ology, The Truth and Lies About Why We Buy. You write also about neuromarketing and politics, and I think, this has long been known, I think, to a certain extent, at least anecdotally, that negative and scaring works better than providing a positive vision.
Yeah.
If I was to ask most people which candidate in this last presidential election offered a more positive vision, people would say Obama was the positive and McCain was the scary one.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that's an accurate description? And
I think it is, but also I think that the Obama campaign people were pretty clever in positioning the message. So what they did was not to go out and talk negatively about the Republicans. What they did instead was to say, we don't want to have another Bush.
Right.
So, in the end of the day, they actually were using negative messages that just positioned it in a very clever way.
Now, I also want to talk about the idea of, you write that strong brands have a similar, I guess, brain pattern as people would respond to religions or faith. Explain that.
Absolutely. Well, it was scary to realize this. We actually recruited people belonging to the faith of Christianity, and as we exposed them for Virgin Mary, for a cross, for a Bible, all those iconic messages carefully selected by a team of psychologists, we learned that when people were exposed for that, and when they were really religious, there was a lot of activities going on in certain regions in the brain. Now, here's the interesting part. When we took people which were obsessed with brands, like Hello Kitty fans, Apple fans, Guinness beer fans, those type of brands, we learned that almost the same regions in the brain was activated. And that for us indicates now that powerful brands, guess what, have some similarity with powerful religion. And that actually has created, basically the outline for how we believe that brands in the future, one by one in a systematic way, are going to adapt elements from the world of religion, for good and for worse, because on one hand it's a bit scary. On the other hand, it's kind of interesting. And if you watch...
Well, also, I mean, what does it say about religion? If you can have a similar region of the brain stimulated by your compulsion to have only Nike products, what does that say about what religion is actually doing? I mean, what does that fulfill in people?
Well, I think it creates a sense of belonging, which is one of the most key elements in powerful religions. I feel part of a community. But there's also a lot of other things. Rituals, which is a powerful element creating powerful religion. You have mystery. Think about it. A lot of religions have mystery. They have a clear enemy. So all those elements are now being adapted to the world of branding. Think about Coke versus Pepsi, or Mac versus Microsoft. Think about rituals, the Corona beer ritual where you squeeze a lime down the bottleneck. That's a branded ritual. So I think what we can learn now is that religion, by default, has been incredibly good at building an incredible, powerful spirituality platform. Brands, however, now are starting to learn from that.
Right.
It just shows you how we as human beings are kind of strange. It's our non-conscious part of the brain which is basically creating our taste, creating our preferences.
So how do you fight back against this?
Well, I think the most important thing is to be aware of it. But if you are a consumer and you're going out shopping, I think there's a couple of pieces of advice you should have in mind. Point number one, the sensory stuff is going to be really strong in retail stores in the future. Smell, sound, that type of thing. We actually did an experiment where we were playing certain types of music, French music and German music. It was in a wine store, and guess what? When we played the French music, the sales of the French wine went up 77%. And when we asked consumers later on why, they had no idea. They didn't know. So the first thing we've learned is that you are going to be seduced by the senses. Now the way you avoid that is to make sure you're not hungry when you go out shopping, because your senses are on alert. And that means you're much more seduced by smell and sound and touch and taste and so forth. The second thing you should have in mind is that they're doing very, very smart word games out there. One word game is, we did an experiment where we had 2 piles of soups, canned soups. And one pile, it said $1.95 per can. No one bought anything. Then we added a little line saying maximum 8 cans per customer. Guess what? Everyone was buying it. So that's a word play. That's really to appeal to our greedy side. Do not be seduced by that. And I think the most important thing is create a shopping list before you go out buying stuff, because then you're not being seduced when you are in the supermarket. You make up your mind before you go into this seductive zone, right?
Right. All right. Well, good luck, folks, trying to fight this this technology in trying to get you to buy stuff. Thank you so much, Mark.
Pleasure.
The book is Buy-ology. Very easy read. I mean that in a good way. Thanks very much for joining us.
You're welcome.